Hello everyone, it's Simmuz here, welcome to a brand new video, and in this video we are going to talk about every word in The Sims 4 so far, and we're gonna rank them. But before starting this video, as always, if you want to support my channel and my content, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and also leave a comment down below and tell me which is your favorite word from The Sims 4. And of course, if you are interested in this kind of videos, especially tier lists where I go through every single word, I could go every single pack, I could do every single game, I could do every single word from other games as well, let me know which other of these tier lists you would like to see. But this is gonna be pretty easy, I think. I have a pretty strong opinion about every single word in The Sims 4, and I am specifically looking for a couple of things. First thing first is obviously the look of the word, how it looks, how it feels, how it is playing in it. Then I'm looking for functionality, so if there's any specific function about this word. Then I'm looking on how well it works, so if there's an issue with the word, if there's things that I don't like, if there's anything that doesn't work as it should. And I'm gonna try and steer off the pack where it comes from, so there are some words that come with a pack that maybe I don't really enjoy, while the word is much better, so I'm also gonna try and steer away from comparing it to the pack it comes from. But let's jump into it and let's do this tier list. So we are in this tier list now, and here are all the words from The Sims 4 with Tomarang is the new one. So let's go through them. Okay, so we're starting with Journey to Batuu, so that's gonna be interesting. This is probably the most controversial word in this list. I think maybe there's another one that might be as controversial. Batuu, the word, comes with Journey to Batuu, the pack, which is one of the least appreciated pack in all of Sims history. Fairly so. The word itself isn't ugly at all, obviously. I think it's pretty, but when you are going into this word, there's no lots. There's three, I think maybe two buildings that you can actually visit and go inside. The cantina, and I think there's the base in the First Order, and I don't remember if there's a base in the Resistance that you can actually get into. But other than that, there's a few rabbit holes that you can kinda go to and your Sims disappears. And of course you can walk around it, but there's not really much else to do. Obviously, if you are playing through the story with Batuu, you have a couple of objectives to go through. But by itself, there's not really much about this word. It's cute, I guess, but also like I'm thinking about the nature of it. And it's mostly like base game nature, base game trees, base game bushes. So there's not really anything specific about this. Like there's some places that really look like Willow Creek. So I think the biggest hindrance with this is the fact that there's no lots in it and you cannot build. So it has to go in F. So I guess we're doing like super ups and downs, because right now we have Brindleton Bay. Brindleton Bay comes with cats and dogs, and honestly I think it's one of the best words we have in The Sims 4. First thing first, we have a bunch of lots, not too many, so not like a crazy amount, but we do have a 64 by 64 lot, which is very nice. There is also a vet clinic, so if you have pets, in other words, you can go there to buy vet treats or have your pet checked out. There is the island area, the pier area, which I think are both very nice. I think the pier is nice visually, while the island also have some interesting things you can do, because there's the pet cemetery, there is the lighthouse, there is the museum, so there's stuff to do on the island as well. And there is the special secret of the boats that actually have your sim transport to the island if you want to. I think that's very nice. And by itself, I think it's just very pretty, like nature-wise. It's very specific nature, but I think I like it a lot, so I'm gonna put it in S tier and see if there's other words that I like more that might bump it down. So now we have Brightchester. And Brightchester, by itself, it's fine. It's nothing like a specific interesting word itself. There are obviously the two universities, so there's that. And there's a few lots, but not that many. It's not my favorite word at all. I don't think I ever really built in it. Like, I think I built a couple of times when I wanted to have some European vibes, but now we have better words for European vibes, I think. I'm gonna put Brightchester in D tier. Next up, we have Sol Valley. So Sol Valley is basically Los Angeles inspired, and it comes with Get Famous. There's a few neighborhoods that are nice. I think I really like the basic quote-unquote area of it, where there's like the starter houses. That area I built in it a few times. Honestly, I like it decently enough. The rest of the word, I think it's fine. There isn't really nothing specific about it, but I like the city vibes that it gives. I like that aesthetic of it. So, well, by itself, it's not really anything super special. I think it has to go into B tier because I really personally enjoy the city vibes. Next up, we have Copperdale. So Copperdale by itself is not really anything special. There's the high school, obviously, if you have it, so your teenage Sims can go to high school. Other than that, there is the pier area of Copperdale, where you have a couple of things you can do. So there's the Love Tunnel, the Haunted House, and the Ferris wheel. And I also think a couple stands where you can buy food or drinks. I think the pier is the main attraction of this world. And what I have as an issue with the pier is that there is no lot on the pier. So if you want to travel there, you have to travel to another lot and then walk all the way to the pier, which is very annoying because it's pretty far from all the other lots. So if it had a lot on the pier, I think it would go into B tier, but since it doesn't, I think I'm gonna go with the same with Prychester, D tier. Okay, so now we have Evergreen Harbor. Evergreen Harbor comes with the Eco Lifestyle Pack. It's Sweden inspired, if I'm not mistaken, or like Northern Europe inspired, and there's a couple neighborhoods that I like. What I do like about this word is that all the areas can be transformed through the naps, so you can vote to transform the neighborhood and make it more green. But I also have to take into consideration the functionality of these words, and Evergreen Harbor has a couple of issues. First thing first, one of the neighborhoods starts off as super polluted, so unless you are playing in that neighborhood, it stays polluted, and it's kind of annoying to play in there if you have to go there like randomly. I don't know if it's still happening, I don't think it is, but it was broken basically up until like I think last year, and they just fixed it. It used to have huge like gaps in the terrain and like blue terrain and issues with that, so I have to also take that into consideration. I think it would be A tier if you didn't have this couple of issues, so it does have, I don't know, B tier energy, and it's gonna go there. Now we have Forgotten Hollow, and you know I might be a little biased towards this word in the bad sense though, because I don't really like it at all. I think it's too specific for vampires. I think what they did great with Moonwood Mill is that yes, it's like a werewolf word, but it doesn't feel like it has to be. Well, they didn't really achieve that with Forgotten Hollow at all. It's very much a vampire word. It feels vampires. It's like made for vampires. It's always overcast. There's mountains all around it. I think it's interesting, the nature of it, because there's weird trees. There's the mountains all around it. There's only 5 lots though. And in the middle, there's this weird park, plaza, cemetery area that I know, it's cute, I guess. I cannot put it over F tier. I'm sorry. I cannot. And I think, I'm sorry, but I have to say the same thing for Glimmerbrook. Glimmerbrook is, I think they tried a little bit more with making it not super obviously magic, but it's clearly like a magical word. The houses are so weird, so bad. All the houses in this word can be deleted and remade, and you actually delete that word and you wouldn't lose anything. There is the Magic Realm access, which I think it's a very pretty area, and the Magic Realm is fine. I don't like the build they have in the Magic World. I'd much rather build my own or use maybe another build by another creator. For example, I know Lil Simpson made one that is amazing, but it really sucks that you have to use things from other creators to make the pack worth it, because I think the Magic Realm itself is very pretty. So if I could split Glimmerbrook in two, the base world, it's F tier, but the Magic Realm, it's like B tier. So overall, I think it has to go in D tier because of the two. Like, I'm doing like a overall kind of score for it. So now, I know it seems like I hate all the words, but the best words are at the end, that's why. Because now we have Granite Falls from the Outdoor Retreat pack. So the pack itself is not great. The word, I don't think it's super bad. It's interesting because it has a specific like nature style, because it's in the forest, so there's all these like tall sequoia trees. I like the trails that are around. There's a lake, there's a waterfall. I think that's very pretty. And I guess I have to give it points because there is a hidden lot on this world. The Hermit Hut is a hidden lot that you reach, I think, through the waterfall, if I'm not mistaken, and you go into another area of this world, which is very, I think it's nice. And I talked about the way that I'm missing like secret lots and secret words, so I have to like give it points for that. So it would have been an F tier, but I think I'm gonna go with D tier because of that. Okay, so we have a good word. We have a good word, guys. We have Henford-on-Bagley, which comes from cottage living, and it's a nice word. It's a nice word. The only issue that I have, actually I have a couple issues with this word. I think it's super pretty. I love the way it's decorated, the nature, and the vibes of it is very like fields and nature and like farmland and all of that, which is so great. I think they did an amazing job. I really like the city center as well, the little town center. I think they did a great job with like levels and all of that. There's a part that it's a little step up. There is the green area where they do the festivals as well, which is very nice. I think festivals have to also be taken into consideration when I'm doing this. I have two issues though with Henford-on-Bagley. First thing first is the lighting. They did fix it a little bit, but at first was super green, and now it still has a greenish tint when you're building, but it's not as bad, so that doesn't really count as much. And my other issue is the forest area is super sprawled out, and if you want to meet the creature keeper, he's like in the middle of this forest you have to go through. It's kind of annoying and it takes a lot of time. And they have been doing this a lot lately, especially with newer worlds, where they have these big open areas where your Sims can just walk around or bike around, which is fine. But at the same time, it takes a lot of time and it feels like the world is super empty. I much rather have a smaller, more compact world with the same amount of lots. So overall, I think Henford-on-Bagley has to go in A tier. It's not perfect, it's not the greatest word ever, but it has to go there. So we have Magnolia Promenade. So Magnolia Promenade by itself, it is a continuation of Willow Creek, I know, but I have to take into consideration the fact that this is a word for an expansion pack. So it comes with Get to Work, which is a $40 expansion pack, which is a lot of money. And you get a word that has 4 lots. I understand we also get 3-4 lots, I guess. We have the hospital, we have the police station, we have the science lab, and I guess we also have 6 which I have to take into consideration. But even with that, 4 lots. That's insane. That's not allowed. That will never be allowed. And if they ever try to do that ever again, I'm gonna kill them. I'm not gonna kill them. I'm not gonna kill them. But like, I'm gonna be upset. So it has to go in F tier. I love the pack, but this word just sucks. Like, awful. So now we have Moonwood Mill. So Moonwood Mill, I think it's interesting. There is the lunar lake, I think it's called, where you can swim. There is the weird, like, super tall mountain where the wolves can go. There is a nice forest area. There is Greg, and that Greg area, which is specific for this word. And also there is a few lots that I really, really enjoy, but that's beside the point. That they were made by James Turner. So they're not made by EA, so I'm not gonna count them. But I do like the vibes of it, and as I was saying, for the vampire word, well, Forgotten Hollow is very much a cater for vampires. This isn't like specifically werewolves. Like, you could have a simple, like, normal sim living in it, and it's fine. It doesn't look out of place. Now, there's also the 2 packs that you can interact with, and one of them lives in the trailer area, which I think is fun. So I am gonna put it in B tier. It's not the greatest word by any means, and I wish there were more lots, obviously, but I think it's middle of the road. Okay, so now we have Mount Komorebi, and I know a lot of people don't really care for Snowy Escape. I don't think it's the greatest pack ever. I don't think it's bad, and I like the representation of Japanese culture. I think they did a great job with that. I really like Mount Komorebi. Personally, I think it's super pretty. I love the nature. I love the vibes of the neighborhoods. I love the city area. I love the mountain. I think I like the snow a lot. There is the whole thing where you can go on top of the Mount Komorebi. There is the whole thing with going around town, like you can walk. You can have actual trails where your Sims can actually like walk together and do like a trail together. There is also the secret cave, I guess, on top of Mount Komorebi. There is like altars and hidden things here and there. There's festivals as well. So there's a lot of things actually for this world. So I think I have to put it in S tier because there's so much that this world gives you. Like, it could be better, it could have more lots, obviously. That's always something that I can say about basically every word. But I like it a lot. Now, this is gonna be my most controversial take ever. Newcrest. So Newcrest is a base game world that was added after a couple of years, I think, from the base game, and it's a completely empty world. And a lot of people hate it because it's empty, there's nothing to do. I love Newcrest. I love Newcrest, I love the vibe. It's like outskirts of a city, so it's almost like a city center. So it feels like a neighborhood just outside downtown. But it's still, there's a lot of nature, there's parks, there's play areas for children, there's barbecue areas for adults, and there is so many lots. I really like it. There's a lot of lots, there's a lot of different shapes of lots. You can really, if you're a builder, which I am, you're gonna love this little word. And I'm gonna put it in A tier, and it's gonna be controversial because a lot of people hate it, but I love it. I think it's great. I'm not gonna put it in S tier because it's empty, which is fair, but I think it gives you so much options and so much management abilities for your sims and what they have to do, what they can do. So now we have Oasis Spring. Oasis Spring is from the base game and is a desert world. I think it's cute. It's not my favorite desert world. That one is coming up. But I think it's overall pretty nice. There's nothing really that stands out for it. So the main thing that comes to mind when I think of this word is the Forgotten Grotto area, which is a secret word that you access from a little cave behind the park. So that is something that comes with it. And I think the nature of it is interesting because it's a desert, so it doesn't feel like every other word that you have in the game. And also there is a neighborhood that it's like all like green and grassy, even though it's in the desert, which feels very Palm Springs to me, which is very nice because I feel luxurious. So I am gonna put it in A tier, I think. Well, now we have some Myshuno, and I'm sorry, I love the city. I love the city. The word itself has 3 distinct neighborhoods that all have their distinct vibe and feel, and I think it's great. I think it's just well made. It feels lived in. It feels the city. It feels like a city. There's like huge skyscrapers. There's a giant road going through with cars, and there's Sims walking in the distance, and there's tents under the highway that are like for homeless people. Like, there's so many details of it that I really enjoy. I like the water area as well that has, I think it's in the Spice District. You have an area that is like straight on the water, and I really like that. I think it just gives a great vibe. So I am gonna put it in S tier. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about Selvadorada, because Selvadorada I think is so beautiful. Selvadorada is so pretty. It's a beautiful word. I love the nature, the Amazon forest vibes, the very tropical vibes. It feels like it's warm. It feels like it's, I don't know. It just gives me the good vibes of the Amazon, basically. And yeah, there's the temple stuff. I think that's also very great. All the different paths that you can take and the different areas you can explore. There's an area with the giant pools. There's an area with the broken down airplane. The only issue that this word has is the fact that it's not a place where you can live. It's only available as a place you can travel to for a vacation and rent a house there, which I think sucks because there's so much you can do in this word. Also, just walking around in the city center, the little town center, where there's also the bar and the vendors. There's the Mother Cosecha statue. I don't know. I think there's so many little details and items and things you can look around for. And there's a lot also of collectibles around. I'd like to live in Selvadorada, so it has to go into A tier. It would go into S tier if it was livable, but I have to bump it down. Now we have my favorite desert word, and I'm sorry, a lot of people are like on the verge of like rioting, I think, for because of what I'm saying, but I love StrangerVille. I love the pack. I think the pack is great, But also the word of Strangerville is amazing. I love that word. It's so, I don't know, I love it. I love the vibes of like the western town. I love the little trailer area. I love the broken down plane. I love the area with all like the mod, like super fancy 1800s mansions that it's like in a green area. And I love the desert vibes, like it's dark red desert with mesas. It's Arizona, and also we have all the lab stuff and all of that. I think it's very nice. I just really love it. I think it's so beautiful. I wish we had like 50 lots in this word, because I would play in that word all the time. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It's super biased, but it has to go in S tier, so I'm sorry. And I think I'm just giving out S tiers because we have Sulani. And Sulani, yes, it does come with the most lackluster expansion pack for The Sims 4. And if we want to talk about how much I think island living ruined my Sims 4 experience, honestly, we can talk about it. But Sulani is so beautiful. So beautiful. Like, the nature is insanely beautiful. There's the volcano area, all the beach lots and all the beach area, and the fact that you can swim everywhere. It's amazing. I just really like Sulani a lot. The only thing that could have bumped Sulani to top best word, no doubts, is having a secret hidden word for mermaids, which we don't have. Nevertheless, it is an S tier, and I will not hear you. Like, it is an S tier, it's untouchable, it's one of the best designed words in The Sims 4. Oh no, we have Tartosa. The thing with Tartosa is I'm Italian, so I was super excited to see an Italian word, or at least Mediterranean inspired. It's not specifically Italian, but all the lots are in Italian. The lots names are in Italian, and some of the Sims also have Italian names. So it's very much Italian inspired. I think it's more Mediterranean inspired because you could see also southern France and Greece and Croatia and Albania in it. So there's a lot of inspiration in it. And the issue that I have with Tartosa, it doesn't feel as Italian to me because it's not the Italy that I know. It's very much a specific part of Italy. It's like it's the Amalfi Coast. This is what it is. Like, it's a very specific area, and I'm sure if you are from that region of Italy, you're gonna be like, yes, it's. I feel like it's much more close to what I know. Like, I'd much rather have an Italian word that is like vineyards and hills and all of that. I think that would be much more the vibe that I would go for. But I also understand that Italy is so hard to encapsulate in a word because you need mountains, you need the sea, you need the cities, you need like art, and you need like water lakes, and like there's so much nature and design wise you can go with for Italy. So it makes sense that it's a little underwhelming for me personally. I also don't like about Tartosa that there's these big areas that are completely empty. That is the same issue that I had with other words, and I'm gonna have with another word specifically that we're gonna talk about later. There's huge areas where there's really not much to do. Like the areas where you have the vendors for the wedding stuff, that area is empty. There's the vendors, but there's no Sims walking around ever. There's the whole like bridge area with the waterfall, like also that it's super pretty, but there's never anyone around, so it feels so empty, so like dead. Like it feels like it's a beautiful painting, and just that there's nothing happening in it. While other words, like for example, yes, San Myshuno has huge areas, but there is stuff to do in all of these areas. Not only the festivals, but when there's no festivals, you can just play basketball, you can serve food, there's stands anyway, there's the roller skate rinks sometimes. Like there's things to do. In Tartosa, there's nothing to do other than walk around. And yes, it's super pretty, so I cannot put it in F tier. I'm not gonna put it in D tier, maybe. Actually, no, yeah, it's gonna be in D tier, I think. Just because of the fact that it feels so empty. I think actually seeing these three in D tier, I have to bump Copperdale up to B tier because it's not that bad. And honestly, seeing this B tier, I would bump Sol Valley to A tier, but that's a personal bias because I really like Sol Valley. I understand that by itself is not the greatest word at all. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about UG, Willow Creek. Willow Creek. Base game word is the first word you open. There's all your favorite characters. Balagoth is here. The pancakes are here. There's all the basic stuff. It's fine. It's middle of the road, cute, nice nature. There's the hidden word, so that's why it's not D tier. I mean, I have Oasis Spring a little higher. The reason is Oasis Spring is a different word. Like, it's a totally different experience because it's desert. Like, I like it. It's nice. I play in it sometimes. Actually, I play in it a decent amount of time, but it's nothing like revolutionary. So it's fine. It's fine, middle of the road. Now, everybody is waiting for Windenburg, and I know everybody is going to put it in S tier. I am going to put it in A tier because it's good. I like the fact that we have a lot of different word, like, area options. There are a lot of different neighborhoods and different vibes in it. I like the city center area. I think that's very well made. I like the old heights difference. I think the more farmland area is also very nice. I like the nature in there. But by itself, other than having like 40, 50 lots, it's not that many, but you know, like many lots, there's really not anything that sticks out to me when I'm thinking about Windenburg. So it's nice. I like it a lot. It's not S tier. Okay, so now I have San Sequoia. So we are at the last 3 words, which are the last most recent words. And I'm trying to not have too much of a recency bias, but I don't think I have that much recency bias for these words. San Sequoia is very pretty, but it does feel like Willow Creek. Like, yes, understand that aesthetically it is a little different than Willow Creek, but overall, when I'm looking at it, it doesn't, like, the vibes of it are very much Willow Creek. Like, it feels like it should be a base game word. And what I don't like about San Sequoia is the huge empty areas. And I was talking about these with Tartosa. There's these huge areas, but there's really not much to do. And your Sims just walk around. And I know they want to give the feeling of an open world, but if your game is not open world, don't try and give me the feelings of open world because it feels empty. It just feels super empty. So I would have to put it in B tier. It's pretty, I like it. It's not the best word by far. Okay, so we have Chestnut Ridge from Horse Ranch. I like the desert vibes. I am a sucker for desert vibes, but this word feels so empty. Again, it's the same issue that I have with San Sequoia, that I have with Tartosa. It feels empty. And I know it's also like, it's good because if you are traveling around with a horse, it makes sense to have big empty spaces. You can go around with it and like ride it and do all of that, which makes sense. So if you're playing with a horse, I think it works. If you're not playing with a horse, though, it doesn't work. So I really like the nature, and I think it's so pretty. It has to go into B tier, I think, but I'm not gonna bump it anywhere else because it feels so empty. And I guess we are at the last word, which is Tomarang from the For Rent expansion pack. So Tomarang is Southeast Asian inspired, I think specifically Thailand, but I'm not sure. But the thing about this word, it is very pretty. Again, it's super pretty. But it has the same issue that Tartosa, San Sequoia, and Chestnut Ridge have. It feels super empty. There's not many lots. I think there's 12 lots, which it's kind of annoying, honestly, with a pack that it's all about building apartments. And like when you're building apartments, you're making big builds. You need a lot of different lots, or at least decently sized lots. Well, these lots are all like small-ish size, and they're all like far apart and like in the middle of the forest. And I'm like, you wouldn't have an apartment building here. You would have it in like a city center. Like we needed the Thailand vibes, but in a city setting, not this naturey suburban setting. Like there's areas that you're actually in the middle of the rainforest, and I'm like, yeah, that's very Southeast Asia, but also like I'm not having an apartment building here. And I understand it's not just apartment buildings. You could have like 2 houses or 3 houses, or like a house split in 2, sure. But when you're giving me the ability of doing rental and apartments, I'm doing apartments. And if I cannot have a 6 apartment building with like 4 stories tall and like a pool and I don't know, like, so I'm sorry for Tomarang. It has to go into D tier. If there were more lots, or the lots were bigger at least, it would definitely go into B tier, maybe even A tier, because I think it's so beautiful, but it does have the issue with being super empty. So honestly, I'm pretty happy with this ranking. I think I did a decently good job with it. Let me know, of course, in the comments down below what you agree with, if you think I'm completely crazy and stupid, or if you think I did a decent job with all these slots and positioning. And where would you put your, like, what's your ranking? Let me know, at least your S tiers. What's your S tiers words for The Sims 4? But as this is it, thank you so much for watching, and a bye-bye.